Residents in parts of Durban spent the day mopping up floodwater from their homes. It's after torrential rain and a tornado lashed parts of the city yesterday. We're joined now by the Deputy City Manager for Community Services in the eThekwini Municipality, Dr Musa Gumede. Dr Gumede, good evening to you. Firstly, let's talk about what you've been able to calculate, at least in as far as the damage that we're talking about here, and in particular the services that have been most affected.
Good evening. We've had a very busy day today. We've been driving around, going to different communities, making sure that our teams are on the ground and making sure that communities are as comfortable as possible, and giving support and also returning services to the different places. We were with a lot of senior government ministers and MEC and Premier and the Mayor in those visits, especially to Inanda. We discovered that a lot of people were saved. There are few facilities, but not as many as could have been expected. Buildings were not in the main destroyed, but mostly flooded, had roofs that had been blown away, but most of the structures are still standing. So the support is mostly to try and clean up the areas and then to rebuild their homes so that they could go back to their homes.
One of the challenges that we've seen, of course, is around electricity supply. It's an obvious service that has been disrupted due to the lines and some of the transformers, of course, being affected by the tornado and the floods. Which other services have been affected?
Yes, that's true. So our teams were busy making sure that poles were re-erected. Water as well was damaged in a few areas, and so there was also teams that were out in the field returning water to different areas of the city from early this morning. Also debris closing some roads was also being swept away, and in other areas of course we had mudslides, and that also had to be taken care of. Those were the issues that we had to deal with today, besides the building of roofs and the cleaning up of areas of debris in a lot of areas.
Residents are currently being kept, in temporary housing situations. When exactly will they be assisted in terms of rebuilding their homes? What are the deadlines and targets you've set?
Well, most of the people have not gone to temporary places. They've either stayed with neighbors or have been using the last 24 hours rebuilding their homes. In one of the halls we're at, there are about 36 people were in the hall, although there were over 200 affected in that community. Today, the teams were taking down the names. The week will be used to procure and to make sure that we return, especially those that are rebuilding, give them material so that they rebuild, so that at least by the weekend, most people should be able to go back. That is at best. We hope that that is how it would work out, and hopefully we'll be able to move them out of temporary places as soon as possible.
I'd imagine that there is a conversation taking place at a local and even a provincial level around what needs to happen when it comes to, weatherproofing, if I can put it that way, infrastructure of the residents of eThekwini that, of course, now have been battered by floods in the last 5 years, if we look at it, more often than not.
Yeah, especially we're noticing that the informal settlements are the most hit compared to the formal areas. There are formal areas close to rivers or where there are mudslides, which also get affected. But we need to really look hard and get more money maybe to build houses for those in the informal settlement, because they become the first targets of these inclement weather conditions.
Dr Musa Gumede, we'll leave it there for tonight.